The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NBA Big 3 in 30. The 3 biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The NBA Big 3 in 30 starts now with the biggest story in the NBA.
64 wins, pish posh, the Pacers dismantle the Cavs in 5 games.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast.
Go on the road, they beat a great team. They do it again, the second straight year, advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals with a road win for the Indiana Pacers, who go to Cleveland, who lost 5 road games to non-Pacers teams this season and beat them 3 times in one series. It was the most Pacers game ever. Everybody who's good at something did that thing in this game. Some standout performers, obviously. Unbelievable game from the Pacers. Unbelievable resolve in this playoffs. They're 8-2. They just beat a 64-win team. I'm just flying through things to say. It's only been 30 seconds. Hello, Derek Kramer. Thank you for joining me. You have become the closer this year. How are you feeling about the Eastern Conference Finals bound Indiana Pacers?
What a ride, man. This is it's been so fun these last 2 years just to see this continue. It's awesome. As Pascal said, like this, now they have their chance to show that they're better than last year. Like this is exactly where they were 1 year ago, and they got a shot. Like, and that's all they can ask for. It's incredible that they're back here again. Just what a game. Like, it's so impressive to beat this Cavs team in 5 games. Like, just really impressive performance from them.
I would like to and will talk about the game, but like, I know a lot of people who are sports fans are like, if they're not winning a championship, failure, don't care. Like, the Hornets haven't won a playoff series singular in over 20 years. Like, the Kings have made the conference finals twice in their entire existence. Damian Lillard.
Ask the Kings fans how much they would love a run like this.
Damian Lillard, a franchise legend for the Blazers, grinded like crazy with those guys. Got there one time.
Donovan Mitchell, amazing in the playoffs, has never been to the conference finals.
Never been. Right? It is for some players, this is like, wow, awesome. Like, I made it that far. You know, this is a huge, huge run for the Pacers to do this. And this time they're doing it as a young ascending team. And this year feels different than last year one because of the potential quality of opponents they'll be facing going forward. I don't want to get too far ahead right now. I'm going to be Rick Carlisle and make you stay on task and focus on today and the very next day for the Pacers. But to narrow view it, last year they beat good teams. They beat the Bucks and the Knicks. They won like about the same number of games as the Pacers, a few more. I picked the Cavs in the series. I'll do a huge I'm a Dumb Idiot podcast tomorrow. I promise. You can all laugh at me today and tomorrow. But they won 64 games. I get that the Heat suck. They embarrassed them, pants them, like best offense in a series in NBA history. Right? They are legitimately very good. I get it. They had a guy banged up and missed some games. But like the Pacers handled them easily. Like they were way better than them in this series. They were way better than them tonight for much of the game. The first part of the game when they were down 19. I keep rambling, Derek. I'm so sorry. They were down 19 early, and I was like, this reminds me of last year. Both game 5s they played on the road last year, they got smoked, and then they had to come back home and figure it out. And then all of a sudden in the second quarter, it's like, oh yeah, everything the Pacers are good at just happened. They respond to these huge adversity moments. Every time they're down big, they can get back into a game. They won a half by 41 3 days ago. Tyrese Halliburton was even above what you usually expect from Tyrese Halliburton heaters with the threes. And then in the second half, everybody else kept it going, but just like, these are the kind of moments that you can feel from the team, how they feel about it, not by what they say, but by how they say it and how they act. Like they knew this was a big deal. And they're like, last year they've said it, felt like awesome. We're here. Cool. This year they have legitimate expectations for themselves and they are destroying it, meeting it by just continuing to grind through great teams. This is their best series win the last 2 years. And they were awesome tonight.
Yeah. Like there's so many things to hit on there. Just it's really impressive. Like what this team's able to do. Like listening to Kenny Atkinson after the game, and like he just sounded so just resigned to the fact that the Pacers had so much more ability to sustain their level of intense play over the course of 48 minutes, over the course of multiple games, and like just plain said, like the Cavs couldn't match that level of pace and intensity and high level of physical play over this long stretch. Like, regardless of, yes, the Cavs were banged up, like Donovan Mitchell wasn't like his
awesome.
his will to try to win that game was incredible. Like, just he was so good throughout
Dude,
this
even
entire series.
Garland, like fighting through everything to play at all.
Everything, yeah. Like they still fought, and like Ty Jerome comes in, like after not playing that whole game, and hits 2 huge threes that finally get the Cavs like going. Like, they weren't going away. Like the Pacers earned this, and like the Cavs were clear about that too. Like, they're not making any excuses. It's just like the Pacers, like it felt like the kind of the same old story, like you said, with this Game 5 start, and then it turned into, oh, it's that same old story. The Pacers taking that first punch, being resilient, and just never stopping. Like, I thought I was going to be back in the field house for Game 6. Like, I pretended it was a reverse jinx tweet that I did when I was like, all right, just good grief. And then, yeah, Tyrese took over. Like, they had no 30-point scorer at all until tonight in the playoffs. Like, I was wondering, like, has a team ever made the conference finals without like having somebody score 30? Well, we don't know, because
I guess we'll never know, as they say. I guess we'll never know. Yeah, I was trying to decide where to go next from just like the moment part that we just did of, do I want to go down 2 paths? There's 2 things that are hugely significant, require long conversations from this game. One you just touched, which is Tyrese Halliburton's 31 points. Huge. I will get to that. But to me, the reason this game is poetic, if I was actually good at writing and not just okay to bad at it, this is what I would try to write about this game. The way I think about Pacers players and what they're good at and what their strengths are and why this is a good team, those are the things that they did in this game to win, if that makes sense. They didn't, I guess you could say Halliburton having 31 is above expectation for him scoring wise, but like the stuff that everybody thinks about or knows these guys for being good at is what they did to win this game. Aaron Nesmith, fighting effort, 13 rebounds, 2 steals. Oh, he's not having a good night shooting the ball? Who cares? He'll do all the other little stuff to win you a game. Pascal Siakam, punk and small guys, 6 made 2-point shots, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Not efficient night, still did the dirty work to get it done. Miles Turner, probably not a great night for him on the offensive end. He probably wasn't thrilled about it. 7 rebounds, 4 blocks, stepped up in a huge way on the defensive end, one of the team's defensive anchors for years. Andrew Nembhard, 7 for 11, 6 assists. Sub pattern for the night was come in when Donovan Mitchell comes in, go out when Donovan Mitchell comes out. You got to guard that guy. You got to be the secondary creator. Good luck, buddy. Oh, he was great. 18 points and doing all that. Tyrese Halliburton, which we will get to later, exceptional scoring. One of the best like individual performances of his playoff career, but also did all the other stuff. 8 assists in this game, 31 points, ridiculously good. Benedict Mathurin, tough plays, tough layups. Quieter night for his standards, and yet still what you expect of him. Obi Toppin flying in at the basket. Thomas Bryant, what just happened? We'll talk about him later. Holy cow, that was above expectation as well, but that's what he's good at. Crazy effort plays, making shots in funky moments, right? TJ McConnell, really tough 4th quarter. I'm sorry to TJ, you don't meet the criteria for this segment. He did have 2 assists. Ben Shepherd made his only 3, defended, played 12 minutes. This is what all these guys are known for or good at. They come in, they fill a role. They're not trying to do too much. They're not trying to overexert themselves. They know the Cavs are really good. They have to do these things to beat the Cavs. That's hard. Everybody has this instinct, especially when you're down 19, of like, okay, what we're doing is not working. I'm going to do this thing and see if that works. They did not do any of that. They played what the Pacers brand of basketball. Tyrese Halliburton went crazy. We'll get to that. And they won the game. It was so perfectly Pacers to me. And that's what made this such a cool win, is that the Cavs are really good. And the Pacers, who have all these guys with their specific brands of success, used those things at various times to get them a huge win for their franchise. Yeah,
like Tristan Thompson, like the thing that he said to the Cavs, according to the broadcast, was like everybody star in their role, like as much as possible, something like that. And like, that's what the Pacers did. And like to do that on the road, to get all those performances from guys like Thomas Bryant. Wow. Like, they live on their depth, and I couldn't believe that once again, Carlisle was going minutes without Ty or Pascal in that first quarter, a all 5-man bench lineup in the third. That one was real rough in the third quarter, because it felt like this is your chance to kind of really put your foot on their neck and finish this. And then like Ty Jerome got those way too easy of shots, but like that's what they live on. Like, that keeps them all fresh for like needing to play 10.5 minutes down the stretch for Tyrese. And like most of the starters that played that in almost that entire 4th quarter, like Miles only had like 5 points, I think, in the first 3 quarters, but his blocks on defense were
Huge.
like massive.
Huge.
Like
Yep.
it was a goaltend when he got that, Donovan Mitchell, when he was clearly trying to just lay it up and like not hurt himself. Like it was solely like, let me get an easy one. But he hustled and he got there and he blocked it. Like he earned that play. And then for Nembhard to get back and block that shot too is just incredible. They did everything they had to do to win this game, and to do it on the road just makes it that much more impressive.
It was. It truly was. And that's what made the second half fascinating to me, is I wondered if they would need their guy who has over 30 points or their other star who just had an awesome game 4, who like every time the Cavs put a smile on him, they're like, okay, finally, my serious prediction came true. It took 3.5 games. Like, great, Pascal Siakam too, just give it to that guy. No, they didn't have to do any of that. They just kept playing their game. And like, even Nembhard was having an awesome like initiate offense night. It helps that he made a bunch of threes that looks huge for his stat line, but he played really well, I thought, in those ways. It was just the perfect kind of encapsulation of why they're here and why everybody like doesn't think of the Pacers as this level of a team, because they have a lot of guys who do specific things very well, but not anybody who's like, how are we going to defend that guy kind of guys on their team. Although I will say this, for the first time in the playoffs, the team trapped Tyrese Halliburton, had that go not very well for the Cavs. Like, it's just, no one thinks of the Pacers in that way, but they have so many guys who are good enough to beat you when they see a cracked defense, when they see space, when they see a chance to go chase down a block. 2 chase down blocks in one half against the team known for a chase down block. That kind of effort is how you win a game like this.
There's nothing like the energy of a live game. Whether it's catching a last-minute Major League Baseball showdown or soaking up the excitement of an NBA matchup, finding great seats at a great price, though, that used to be a challenge until I found Gametime. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and the lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Plus, ticket prices actually drop as the beginning of the game gets closer, so you can score amazing seats at a great price. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are growing up in front of our eyes.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Oklahoma City Thunder's comeback win in game number 5 to swing this series in their direction. They have 2 games to get 1 win and punch their ticket to their first Western Conference Finals since 2016. The Thunder are in the driver's seat for this series, especially after winning games 4 and 5. And look, after losing game 1, the Thunder were always going to have to win 2 consecutive to have a chance to win this series, and they've done that now with these 4 and 5 wins, and now head to Ball Arena in game 6. But tonight's win was just a stamp of growth on this Thunder team. And you couldn't have scripted a better start for Oklahoma City. You just couldn't. They come out in front of their home crowd, what was the most lively, rowdy, raucous crowd of the postseason for Oklahoma City, and they go on a 12-2 run right out of the chute. And you're thinking, okay, this is starting great. And Denver calls the first timeout. And from that Denver timeout till the midway point of the 4th, it was Denver's basketball game. I mean, they responded quick and in a hurry, and they wrestled away control of this game and grew a 12-point lead of their own. And it felt like they had an answer for the Thunder every single time, because the Thunder closed the second quarter really well to get this down to a 2-point game. The Thunder tied the game twice at the start of the third quarter. And then they cut the lead back down to a 2-point game at about like the 9-minute mark of the third quarter. And then Denver swelled that lead back to 12. And that's how it went for the majority of this second half. I mean, for 40 of these minutes, it was Denver's game to lose, and they lost it. And Oklahoma City took it. And the poise and the collective togetherness of the Thunder team, it was impressive. And these are 2 different teams in 2 different series, but you look at how the game flowed in game 5 of this series and game 5 of that Dallas series a year ago. And it was the exact same recipe. And the Thunder responded tonight the way they didn't respond against Dallas 1 season ago. And when you look at the Thunder's production at the end of it, The Thunder shoot 50% from the floor, 41% from three, and 78% from the free throw line. Clearly, they still want to hit more free throws. They left some on the board a little bit in that regard, because you saw some guys miss a few free throws here and there. But ultimately, a really good shooting game, which you would expect at home. 41% because of you got the Dort turnaround, which we'll talk about. You got 2 for 5 from J-Dub. You got 1 for 2 from Chet. And you saw Caruso come in and go 3 for 6 off the bench. And like the bench mattered a lot in this game. There's so much to talk about from this one. But the biggest talking point was the Thunder's ability to respond. Because in the first half, OKC got out rebounded by 10 rebounds. I mean, they were getting abused on the glass. They were being outworked. They were being out efforted. They were being out hustled. And Denver was the more desperate team. And it felt like that's how this game was trending. It felt like how game one trended, where Denver did all the things that the Thunder typically do, and they kind of flipped the script against them. But what ends up killing Denver is they shot 28% from three. It was dead even at 50 points in the paint. Denver gets 5 more second chance points than OKC. And despite the turnover battle being 15-14, OKC gets 18 fast break points because Denver just could not control the pace of the game off of their turnovers, off of their misses, and the Thunder created transition chances. What really clicked for the Thunder down the stretch of this game was the fact that they were not taking the ball out of the net every single possession in that fourth quarter. And it's all intermingled. And why is that? Because the Thunder's half-court offense can get sped up. It can get sloppy. It can stop generating good looks. But whenever they can get down the floor quicker than Denver, and before Denver can get settled into their zone, they can really punish Denver. And they did that in the fourth quarter tonight, especially. And the Thunder win 112-105. And the rebounding battle, for as bad as it was in the first half, it ends up 49-43. And Denver created more possessions in this game. And they had more chances in this game. That's partly why the percentages are a bit off. OKC shot the ball 82 times tonight, and Denver shot the ball 97 times tonight. But OKC's defense held up, and their depth held up. Because when you look at it, it was the defense that held Denver to 105, and the defense that held Denver, despite shooting more to less points and to the poor percentages that we rattled off. And the defense has been the calling card of this Thunder's team. While they're going through this historic regular season and this historic, 68-win season, most double-digit wins in NBA history, etc., we always talked about how they did it in different ways of creating these avalanches, creating the separation, creating these wins, not from the flashy 3-point line like other teams have done in the past, but from defense and tenacity on that end. They buckled down defensively after, as Mark would describe, some of their worst defensive stretches of this series happened tonight, but they started well defensively and they ended well defensively, and that got them the win. And then their depth. I mean, the fact that you had a guy like Caruso come off the bench for 3 for 6 from the 3-point line, and you were able to get the 13 points from him and the quality of defensive minutes from your bench that Denver couldn't rely on. And Denver was clearly gassed down the stretch of this game. And Denver's been going through a tough turnaround, right? They've been playing basketball every other day nonstop since Game 7 of that Clippers series. And it's tough on a team that's rotation only goes 6 guys deep who you trust. And you have the Michael Porter Jr. injury, which credit to him for fighting through the injury, but he's 1 for 7 tonight, 0 for 5 from the 3-point line. He is battling as hard as he can from that injury, but it's just not allowing him to be any sort of productive except for Game 3. So Oklahoma City's defense let them hang around, because when this was a 9-point game and Jokic starts the fourth quarter with a 9-point lead and OKC has SGA on the bench, I understand totally the thought process behind that move by David Edelman, and that could have crushed them, because there's 2 different cracks that the door was left open for Denver to really kick it down. It was the fact that they didn't lose the non-Jokic minutes in the second quarter, despite Shea being on the floor in that second quarter for those non-Jokic minutes. And it would have been, if they could have gained that separation from leaving Jokic on the floor in the fourth quarter, like that could have really won them this game, and they just could not do it. They could not extend past the Thunder and get this to a overwhelming mark. Like, obviously you don't want to get down 12 points, but in the modern NBA, 12 points is not a massive lead. And you see it night in, night out, how teams come back. And I really think that you have to give the Thunder credit for just chipping away and staying poised, because it would have been easy to let go of the rope whenever a lot of stuff was going against them. Like there was a couple of bad bounces on long rebounds that was deflating. You had the Jokic game where Nikola was awesome in this game, and Nikola deserves all the credit. And he has that statement three where he's spinning around like a ballerina and off his back foot fadeaway three from a step behind the free throw line, from the 3-point line. That's shots that teams typically do not recover from, and the Thunder just kept punching. And that is the thing that's made them this anomaly team this entire season. We keep saying that young teams aren't supposed to do what the Thunder are doing, and they keep doing the things that young teams are not supposed to do. And this win, I know that they're not in the business, as Mark would say, of answering our questions and like answering external questions or expectations. But man, did they do that tonight? Whether they were trying to or not, they did it. They proved that they can hit timely shots. They proved that they can come through in the big moment from the 3-point line with open opportunities, like that J-Dub 3 in the corner. Again, the box score from J-Dub, much like we said in Game 4, was not what you want the box score to be. But did he show growth this playoff series? He absolutely did. Has he shown growth this postseason? He absolutely has. And what a difference that a year makes, because this team, as you saw, does not win this game a year ago. And every player, I think, in the fourth quarter understood the moment, understood the situation that they found themselves in. And while they didn't do it for the 48 minutes, and you want them to in Game 6, and they have to in Game 6 and 7 and close out games, they understood it at the end of this one. And the way that they're applying lessons that they've learned so rapidly, where it's like Game 1 didn't go their way, Game 3 didn't go their way, and they learned a lot. And as Mark said pregame, they're a better team today than they were at the start of this series, and I fully believe that. It's uncommon that you can learn these lessons in the flow of a playoff series. It really is. We'll talk more about individual performances in the second segment. We'll talk a lot about kind of big picture stuff in the third segment. But the lead story tonight, I think, is the Thunder's resiliency to get back on track and to get this win whenever Denver had a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. And typically when you have a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter and you play clutch time minutes and you have Nikola Jokic, you win these games. And Nikola Jokic is playing this way, you win these games. The Thunder bucked another trend tonight.
The NBA playoffs roll on, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action right now. When you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. FanDuel makes betting easy, whether it's picking your favorite team or diving into player props. From three-pointers to steals to assists, there's so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. You can lay a little something in celebration of the Celtics' downfall, if you would be so inclined. Of course, not celebrating Jayson Tatum's injury. That's horrible, and you feel terrible for him. FanDuel has Boston favored by 4.5 points over the Knicks, but without Tatum, things could look a little different than the spread indicates. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
The worst case scenario for Jayson Tatum. Our worst fears were confirmed with Jayson Tatum suffering a ruptured Achilles. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about what's next. And in the third segment, I'm totally going to channel my inner competitor, my inner former player, and total rallying cry for Game 5. Objectivity goes out the window. Game 5 is my mindset if I'm in that Celtics locker room. So that's later. Right now, it's Jayson Tatum, who had surgery on the ruptured Achilles tendon. We were waiting all day Tuesday. I was traveling from New York back home and waiting to see if that news was going to drop, and it dropped very late in the day. And everybody's speculating why. And the reason kind of ends up being because Tatum was in surgery, and they wanted to give the update after the surgery was over. Successful surgery, according to Adam Himmelsbach of the Boston Globe. The surgery was done right away because that tends to yield the best results. Achilles surgeries, recoveries tend to have some pitfalls along the way, And so getting this done, giving it the best chance of full recovery and the fewest setbacks, this was the way they wanted to go. And so the good news is surgery is done. It seemed to go well, successful, full recovery, all of that stuff is what they said. So what's that mean for Jayson Tatum? Well, it's going to be a long road, right? It happens. He had surgery now on May 13th. What the absolute best case, nothing goes wrong scenario is Tatum is 27 years old. He's in phenomenal shape. He is a tireless worker. He hits every one of his marks right away and as soon as possible, right? After an Achilles surgery, there's a 2 to 4 week window of when do you start moving and like just light pressure on, with a boot and crutches. Tatum would have to start at 2 weeks. That 4 to 6 or 8 week window of walking without the crutches, gingerly with the boot on, Tatum would have to start that at 4 weeks. Every one of these stages, walking with the boot, walking without the boot, starting to do light work, your rehab, your, working with the bands, doing a little bit of light jogging, whatever those milestones are, Tatum in the best case scenario has to hit them all at the earliest point. There is a non-zero chance that Tatum in the ultimate best case scenario still makes it back December-ish, which would be 7 months. Okay. It's May 13th, 7 months from now. I've been saying the holidays, kind of almost like Kristaps Porzingis coming back Christmas-ish. Best case scenario. Now, best case scenarios rarely happen. But again, Tatum is 27. He is in phenomenal shape. He is in absolute peak condition, peak healing powers, peak everything. It's not out of the question. And also, by the way, one of the world's elite athletes with the power of an NBA franchise and his own multi-million dollar bankroll to put every bit of anything possible behind this recovery. So you have the likely scenario, but there is a world where in his prime, mega athlete, mega fit Jayson Tatum heals faster than a normal human being, right? And I'm thinking about these instances when I think it was like Bobby Hurley. Remember Bobby Hurley got into, I think it was a motorcycle accident or a car accident. He ended up face down in a ditch, and the doctors said the only reason he even survived that was because he was an elite athlete. Elite athletes have their bodies work slightly differently than ours. You know what I mean? I am now an aging sports writer who eats a breakfast sandwich in the airport. My body is not recovering the same way that Jayson Tatum, 27-year-old with every advantage at his disposal, can heal. So the best case scenario is not out of the question. The more likely scenario, the 7, 8 to 9 month scenario that gets you into January, February. Well, All-Star break is February. Now, you go right around February, maybe you start to get him back, a couple days off, work him back in, take the All-Star break, think about it, feel it out, see what the plan is, and use the rest of the regular season as a ramp up for whatever playoff situation the Celtics are in. That's, I think, the most likely scenario. And I'll talk about what the Celtics could be in next season. I don't want to move too far ahead, but this is where we are right now. I don't think it's out of the question. And there are people who are going to be like, why bother? Why bother? Well, First of all, Tatum's going to want to play. So we all have to accept this. Tatum is going to want to play. And I think it's to his advantage to go through. Obviously, he's going to go through all the rehab. When he's ready to play NBA basketball, he should play NBA basketball. He should come back because you need to get your confidence back. You need to get your wind back. You need to get your feel back. You need to get all of that stuff. And even if the end of the season is a sort of, let's just pretend the Celtics aren't even in the playoff picture. Maybe it doesn't matter if they're in the playoff picture or not. Maybe they are first round exit, second round exit, whatever it is. You got to get Tatum back. The mental part is going to be my biggest worry. The mental aspect of trusting your body. This is like, it's one thing to, Tatum's going to put in that work. He's a tireless worker. I trust him to do every step, every bit of the work to physically be ready to play. If for nothing else, I need to see him back at some point next season just so he can work that confidence back, so he can trust his body. His body betrayed him here. He took a step. He has been durable. He's been damn near indestructible. And he takes this one step and his Achilles pops. And now it's like, oh, damn. My body just gave out on me. He needs to get that confidence back. He needs to be able to step onto a court and play and go through it and forget the injury and play through whatever mental hurdle there is. If there is one, there may not be one, but make no mistake, coming back from a devastating injury, a catastrophic injury, there is a significant mental element to that for a lot of players. Tatum needs to make sure that he is not one of those guys. And so, as much as I'm looking forward to him being back at some point next season and some semblance of himself, I think he can come back and be basically Jayson Tatum again. He's too young. I know that this is a tough injury, but he's too good. He's too good to come back and be half of what he's been.